Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's Down and Dirty, we are going to address a topic that I have been asked about a lot. And I am sorry it took me so long to get this video out, but I wanted to do my due diligence. I wanted to actually talk to some guys on the manufacturer side before I put this video together so I could give you guys the most accurate information possible. Today's video topic is, do I need to worry about being replaced by AI or autonomous machines? I know that's a big concern for a lot of guys coming into the industry or guys thinking about getting into the industry. And the short answer is no, you don't really need to worry about being replaced, at least not at this time. So I was able to talk to a couple industry contacts that I had from back in my time selling equipment, and then I've got my own speculations, and really what it boils down to is there are a couple reasons you don't need to worry about being replaced by autonomous machines. So the number one reason that we currently don't have to worry about being replaced is because of the political climate, believe it or not. One of the things that is being pushed more than anything else in the industry is actually getting emissions even cleaner than they are. If you think Tier 4 Final was terrible for getting emissions down, wait until they roll out Tier 5. It's gonna be miserable. But that's where the industry is focused right now, is getting engine technology even cleaner, also coming up with alternate fuel methods so that you can get those emissions down. That's where the concentration of power is right now, as opposed to going to the autonomous machines. Now, little did I know, until I talked to my friend in the industry, autonomous machines have actually been around since the 90s, believe it or not. We're not talking necessarily dirt machines, but one of the things that they used to do in orchards is use autonomous machines to do some of the maintenance in orchards. Programming was much simpler. It was basically they had feelers on the machines and they were able to track the rows, and when they got to an end of a row, that was just a grid pattern that the machine would work, so there wasn't much intelligence to it. But nonetheless, the technology to have autonomous machines has been around for a while now. We haven't seen it in the construction industry because we work under a lot more complicated conditions. And that kind of leads me into my main point of why I don't think you need to worry about being replaced anytime in the near future. This is a very unique industry because yes, you can have situations where you move a lot of dirt and a monkey could do it to a degree, but there's also a lot of situations that require a human element, someone babysitting and monitoring and making sure that you know what you're doing in the machine. I'll give you a prime example. I don't ever foresee an autonomous machine setting storm or sewer pipe. You've got 4 or 5 guys on the ground or down in the trench. You have the trench banks to worry about, watching for possible collapses. You're dealing with trench boxes, you're dealing with stone boxes. There's a lot of things in that process that I don't feel a computer would be able to necessarily take in all of that information and make educated decisions to do that job. Another great example is doing really tedious grade work around curbs and between catch basins and manholes. Yes, a machine could grade, but in order to do all of that very tight, very technical work with the blade without hitting objects, without running into things while paying attention to things on the ground, I don't foresee a computer being able to take those sort of positions over. Now, that being said, in the next 10 to 15 years, could we start seeing autonomous rollers show up on job sites more frequently? Absolutely. Autonomous haul trucks? Absolutely. Some of those jobs that are pretty mindless, that don't require a lot of skill in the trade, I can absolutely see some of those jobs getting replaced by autonomous machines. But that still leaves a huge portion of the industry open that needs real operators. It needs people in the seats to make informed and educated decisions. I know that over in Europe, they are already starting to use autonomous rollers for some of the larger scale projects. And they are, believe it or not, they have come a long way. They are able to detect people on the job site so they don't run anyone over. They're able to follow a grid pattern. I don't know if they're able to actually calculate densities as far as knowing when they've rolled an area enough that they feel it's confident and that it's going to pass a density check. But regardless, they are able to track where they have rolled and how many times it has been rolled and compacted. So the technology is absolutely there. I've actually been told by an industry contact that this technology exists in dozers already. You just don't see them in the workforce because the workforce isn't ready for it. And that's another huge portion of this thing that plays into it, is regulation on the industry. One of the main stumbling blocks, according to my source, that is going to come down the pipeline when we really start to transition to these machines are organizations like OSHA. There's going to have to be a whole slew of safety regulations put into place to make make sure these machines are safe to be around, they're safe to be on the job with people. I mean, how unfortunate would it be if an autonomous roller backed into a hole that had a bunch of guys down in it because it didn't detect that the trench was open? I mean, those are the sort of things that are going to have to be programmed and then tested thoroughly to OSHA's liking before you can actually start to roll those machines out on the job. So while the technology's here, and I know it's scary that it's here, we still have a long way to go before we regularly start seeing autonomous machines on the job. Now, let's go worst case scenario, just to kind of calm everyone down and kind of change your perspective a little bit. Let's say that autonomous machines will definitively be here in the next 5 to 10 years. Is that a reason to avoid this industry? Absolutely not. Think about it. When they roll those machines out, you may have a whole fleet of autonomous scrapers doing a land balance on a new subdivision job. Someone's still gonna have to be sitting in a trailer, probably a few people, monitoring all of those machines, doing spot checks to make sure that they are actually following the grade. As anyone who's run GPS systems on dozers knows, you still have issues all the time with GPS where something in the file was incorrect and you have to go back and you have to fix the grade or you have to catch it on the fly. These are the sort of situations that are still going to present themselves when it comes to autonomous machines. Not everything will be programmed accurately, and it's going to take human operators and skilled tradesmen to be able to catch those errors and adjust on the fly and possibly do some reprogramming. So all of that to say, there will still be positions for skilled operators. Now, your skills may have to adapt. You may have to learn how to do some programming with these machines, and you may have to learn how to operate remotely from a workstation in a trailer, but that's not to say that jobs will 100% go away and this industry is going to dry up. It's going to be a very, very, very long time before we see any huge impact to the labor force required in construction because of these machines. So all that to say, don't sweat it. If you are thinking about getting into the industry, I certainly don't want to discourage you. You don't need to be worried about this taking your job tomorrow or even in the next 10 to 15 years. In all honesty, it's going to be a very long time before we see some real impacts of autonomous equipment in the industry. And even so, once it gets here, there will still be jobs, there will still be need for skilled tradesmen. So that's all I've got for today. I hope this was helpful. I hope it calmed some of you down and kind of relaxed you and let you take a deep breath of relief. We'll catch you guys on the next video.